change that.
Roll.
Yeah, I was just trying to not suck at Blasto, so to get all my stuff I had to change the settings and whatnot. Anyways, this is Secret Evermore. We'll be doing no Verminator skip. Timing starts at first input, so I kind of start my timer at like negative 6.7 seconds. It just works like that.
Specifics.
So, yeah, I'll just say when, I guess, or you'll see the boy start to move. So, all right. So timing starts now. Basically, the first thing that I'm going to be doing is trying to set up a skip. There's a fight that you can either lose the fight or win the fight, so it's much faster to just lose the fight, of course. So we're getting a good, decent bit of damage here. We kill the first plant there for the Talon route, or Talon, whatever. And we can just set the dog up in the trigger, kill the boy, and the fight's instantly over. I didn't even start my timer. Oh well. So now that's over, we're just gonna go here. This guy's like, oh yeah, you took a whooping, and I'm like, whatever. Do you want to save? Nah, we don't need to save. So we're gonna pick up the nectar. Just mosey on down here, grab some more ingredients and stuff to kill the first boss of the game, and pretty much get through the whole first act while we're low level and underpowered. Right here we can do a trick called AI leashing by having an input on a character and then switching to another character. The inactive character has the chance to continue to move that way. And by moving down a little bit there in that room, we can manipulate the clay. Or I mean, manipulate the plant. There's normally a plant that spawns up there, but by causing the game to spawn, generate more spawns down low, for some reason it causes that plant to despawn. This guy is gonna give us the ring of Jaguar or whatever, Jaguar ring, something like that. And it allows us to run, which is very useful throughout the speed run. You know, if we had to walk everywhere, it'd be pretty whack. So yeah, just gonna sell him some crap back and just keep on rolling in. So as the dog in Act 1, he moves extremely fast on horizontals or verticals or something like that, I don't even know. Anyways, so we're gonna want him to be leading the way when we're basically just doing a straight path. Here we can tell the game that we looted those crystals where the dog is, even though the dog's not able to loot the crystals, and it causes there to be 3 clay instead of 4 clay, or 3 clay instead of 2, something like that. Anyways, this guy's gonna give us the first spell, Hardball. Oh yeah, and we're gonna do a lot of damage with it. We want to buy some crystals. It's very useful. Oh yeah, I forgot I should probably be saving, but yeah, whatever. We got this. Anyways, we're gonna make our way to the first boss. Here we can do another skip by having the dog attack to get on the trigger for these bridges. They normally collapse on you, but by having him switch out as the inactive character, he doesn't actually trigger the bridge, and we can just switch back and run across. When a character is far enough off screen and you menu or like, you know, switch the camera, it kind of makes it so that you have like iframes or whatever, and you can just move through things. Or not iframes, but like everything's kind of deloaded momentarily. So just realized I'm doing like kind of the super optimal route here, so there's a good chance that I might really rip and it'll be sad times, but let's just pray we get good damage rolls. Here we're gonna set up a glitch called Thrax Intro Skip by having the boy in the trigger for the left room right there, it kind of makes it so that he starts to walk left as you're entering, with the dog as the active character and switching back to him. Alright, I had to really pay attention there, because this is actually a really good pace. That's the first boss. When the dog is the active character, you can kind of just spam hard balls rather than having to only cast 2, which is what happens when the dog or the boy is the active character. So you can do like cast of 8, and right there, by combining the death animation with Thrax and the intro cutscene, you can kind of just free Stoneheart a little bit early there. We got the fast skip by doing a little buffer. It's recently discovered by Green Ambler. Bus. Oh snap. So yeah, we're definitely going to be taking a safety save here. We were just rolling way too deep and going way too fast. Didn't even realize. You can kind of pre-buffer the cancellation of this menu by just holding start. So you get an instant cancellation every time. Pretty sweet. Woo! Alright, we're in the safe now. Oh. Alright. So we're just gonna start making our way back to Fire Eyes. Whoops. Want to do 7 casts to make sure this guy dies. The next boss, because he's a doozy. There's kind of a little weird thing going on there, but whatever. So the guard is still there because we didn't speak to him earlier. And we can just set the dog there in position to talk to him and switch out with the boy, the frame perfect character switch. And by doing so, walking into these huts, for some reason you kind of just you know, enter the Fire Eyes' hut from the top of the screen. Whatever, you know, makes sense. Why not? It's a Square game. And so yeah, she normally comes out and they like summon her or whatever, but you know, it's slow, so just do that. She has this long conversation with us, you know, tells us the business. And they're like, oh, I can help you get back or whatever, or something like that. So it's like, all right, cool. She gives us some call beats because, you know, they didn't have cell phones back then. Shout out to my man Scars, by the way. Found some fresh new tech coming up in Act 2 here.
Yeah, speaking of Scars, real quick, he donated 12 bits just now. Thank you very much. And Tenu donated $2.50.
Oh yeah.
Thank you both very much. Appreciate you guys.
Keep those donations rolling in.
Rolling on.
So here we just picked up Defend, which we're going to be using to completely break the game later. Kind of makes the game fun. Let's just say that. So as we abused the ability to despawn the maggot earlier, we're going to do the same thing with this rock because it takes a very long time to actually make the rock, like get the rocks to move. You need mud peppers and we don't want to have to go through all that, so. Ooh, 1 health. This section has killed more runs than I like to admit. Alright, we're gonna play it pretty safe. It's a Viper that is gonna kill me. So, it's a good thing we saved, I guess, but it's gonna lose a bit of time here. Though. Yeah, the Vipers are pretty mean, but should be all good. Not too big of a time loss. Maybe like a minute tops. So we're gonna just roll back in here through Fire Eyes' hut, top entrance. But now would be a good time to get your donations rolling in, so we can meet these incentives. Oh yeah. Let's see, what kind of dope incentives do we have going on here? Where is it? Where do I find it? Oh, there we go. Alright. So we got a 5-minute freestyle by your man RPG Godfather. That's gonna be rolling unfathomably deep. You already know, so make sure you donate for that for sure. I don't know. I don't know exactly what the goal is to be met, but make sure that goal is met for sure, because that's gonna be fire. Alright, so now we're just hopefully not getting trolled by these plants. Alright, that's what's up. We want to grab that claw bead because we need to do as much damage as possible with the Magmar, because this guy is super mean. Like, almost as mean as this room. If not meaner, actually. That's how mean that guy is. It's no joke. So usually, because I'm a mad lad, I would just actually skip that Viper. Sometimes he doesn't even spawn, but it's much safer to just do the extra menu. Could save a few seconds if you don't even have to deal with him, because it really messes your movement up. But ideally, it's just not worth. There is a glitch that I could set up here, but since Magmar is super rude, we want to just take the save. It's not worth risking. I still got perfect movement. Normally we don't even do that anymore. We just do everything off screen by walking into the trigger. For some reason that the room is like all connected, so you can still move around when you're going through the pipe or whatever. And by triggering that with the boy and then stepping on the switch with the dog, we can actually move the dog off screen. Like at the end of the animation. It saves like a second if you do it perfectly. This is Magmar, the evilest of Pokemon. So we want to just cast a bunch of casts of Hardball and additionally we're going to use, that's bad. Additionally we're going to use call beads at the end. Here. Okay, good. Ideally, you do not want him to see him cast Heat Wave until the very, very end, because he's going to cast Heat Wave no matter what. So you want this to be after all your turns. But messed up a little bit. But we're looking good, getting good damage rolls. Alright, good. Because he can survive that, which is pretty unfortunate. But not today. So I'm just trying to set up the screen so I get as little scroll frames as possible. That's Act 1. Skipped a lot of content. Like, at least 10 minutes of content. legit in trading card game, but Secret Evermore guy is illegit. He is no bueno. So yeah, you just fall from the sky, land in this giant nut thing. You fall off of a waterfall, yeah. Falling off a waterfall. Alright, so now our now our dog is missing, so we gotta find him. Figure out what's up. So we can leave me alone. Holy mackerel. So we can call the dog into play by doing a frame perfect character switch. Which we want to do because we want to get the boy over this ditch here. So when you have another party member like we did earlier with the guard skid, we can just leash the boy over this ditch, and we want to do that because we want to get into Nobilia as fast as possible because there's an in-game timer which we're going to be using to that time to set up our glitches. So the in-game timer actually starts from the moment that you enter Nobilia. We're going to do some purchasing here. And this guy's going to give us Atlas, which we really need because it's how we're going to get through the rest of the game. And he gives us an Amulet of Annihilation, which we need to cast Atlas. Woo! Alright. So when you load a save, actually your menu place does not save itself, like the state of your menu. Normally throughout the run you can just tell where your menu ring is going to be because of previous menuing and purchases and whatnot, but if you load a save state, everything resets. But for some reason the audio doesn't reset, and we found out somewhat recently actually that switching the audio to stereo for some reason makes Verminators get more consistent. So, and thankfully that state saves. Am I dropping a million frames because it looks like it? Hope not. Oh god, stop dropping frames, please. I'm dropping a billion frames. So what I was doing there, you can actually, there's these spots in the desert, just like along these rocks that for some reason allow you to screen wrap. I really don't know what to do about this, but this is really irritating. Like I've been having frame issues. This guy gives us Crush, which we need because there's actually still 2 bosses in this game that we need spell damage to kill because they are actually unharmable by physical damage. So we're gonna grind and get 2 levels so that we can set up a glitch called Atlas glitch, or really strong and invulnerability glitch. But we need a little bit of health because to set it up we're actually gonna be taking damage. and getting poisoned by these spiders. Hopefully, it looks like my frame loss is being corrected. Good game, thank you. Now I'm never gonna get poisoned. Can you die? Holy mackerel. There we go. About to kill another one. Pancakes. Oh yeah. I love me some pancakes. Especially with blueberries in them. Strawberries. Pancake a la mo. I don't know why I'm so under level, because I was not doing marathon friendly strats, and I didn't realize until I had already killed Thrax, or was about to kill Thrax. Just decided to YOLO it and got lucky. Alright, so we're gonna take a save here. Because if we miss this glitch up, then it's pretty much over. Waffle is the man, though. Shout out to my man Waffle. He can eat his pancakes however he wants. Or his waffles. Waffles, pancakes, whatever. They're both tasty, let's be honest. If you gave me a waffle or a pancake, I would be happy. See, these guys can also just like really troll you like that. Alright. So we got poison. What poison's doing is it's rolling our stats back slowly. We need to get this guy to do exactly just that. So what's gonna happen with the additional pixie dust, which revives us, and these, it's gonna make our stats roll back to an extremely high value, and kill me. Oh, phew. All right. So our stats are gonna be super duper high, and basically nothing's gonna be able to kill us. Oh, or we're just gonna underflow. Yeah, that must have been a poison tick that hit me as I was dying. But, alright, so we're gonna try again. Basically, you want to die as far away from a poison tick as possible, because if you die like immediately after, or as poison is hitting you, your stats aren't gonna have rolled back enough, and eventually you'll level up to a point where you cannot your level is just gonna, you're not gonna be able to hit anything because your values are gonna be like all at 0. So I got a really fast poison this time. It's nice. Yeah, not gonna risk it. Just kick my cord. So basically, game just needs to be nice right now, which could happen right now. The odds are that it's like 1 in 8 or something like that. So probably get it within the next 3 tries. Oh yeah. Or, you know, just the spiders won't hit me at all. Holy mackerel. That was something else. That dodge rate. So this guy can either confound me or plague me. Either or is okay. Confound it is a little bit better because when you're plagued, it does damage, which makes things a little bit scarier. This is really scary. That might have been too soon. It's kind of really close. Alright, I'm taking it. So what just happened there is I got really lucky. I got really lucky. So there's a chance that the game will actually drop jewels like you just seen. So it has a small percentage to drop anything. So you get like nectar, jewels, wings, whatever. And then there's an even smaller percentage chance that it will drop jewels, and if that happens and you pick up an ingredient on the like a few frames after having picked up the jewels or whatnot, it actually gives you the value of that for the ingredient, something like that. Yeah. So, like, let's say if I got Talon's Talon drop and pre-1, and I picked up clay or whatever, I would get like 3 clay or 6 clay or whatever, which is something the task utilizes, but it's just not RTA viable. It's so rare. Not sure why not. So normally you would we would just use Crush for the rest of the run, but since they have Sting, the cast animation's much faster. So I'm gonna be using that just for the fun of it. So I don't have the route completely worked out, but this is the second time that I've done that in a marathon, so I should probably just learn Sting route. Of course, you know that you never get that type of RNG in like an actual run though. It's just so uncommon. It's kind of cool to be able to show off. So actually I believe saves around like 8 to 10 seconds if you get Sting first try. So it's pretty big considering how optimized the run is at the moment. But no, a matter of actually getting that RNG on a good pace is not easy. It's just not viable to get vinegar because it's like there's nowhere to really buy it and it's extremely expensive. So, and this has happened yet again. Never seen it, like, I didn't know that was a thing, but there you go. He's just walking around the desert. Oh yeah, I mean, if you're going real YOLO, then you'd skip defend, but if you get hit more than like 4 times, then you're already losing time by not getting defend. So unless if you're the task, it's probably very silly. I mean, once you get to the end game, you take so much damage. Carltron's no joke. Don't sleep on him. I'm just grinding out a few levels here. Make sure I have enough cash for the ingredients and just leveling up a little bit so that my hit percent chance is much higher. If I do overflow at any point in the game, I should be able to just equip the bone crusher, which is the first weapon that we receive, because the attack power is much lower, so it'll bring my stats back up again, and then be able to just complete the run that way. Shouts to Patches of Houlihan. But you don't need to get defend. I never really noticed, but it kind of looks like a face in those the wall there. Just a little bit, just to see how lucky we can get. Normally, what you would do is you would cast a bunch of sting. Like you'd have to cast a lot of sting to level it up properly, so that the call beads do enough damage. But because I don't really know Sting Route super proper, what we're going to do instead is just cast a bit of Crush and level it up that way. Because Crush is much higher in the way that, or it does much more base damage in the way that, the way that the call bead damage works is based off of the highest spell damage you get from your other spells. Or like just your highest spell, whatever. Water. So I got like 40 crush, so basically totally safe right now. My boy Scars actually just recently pointed out that if you'd be doing crust casts to level your thing up anyway, so it's better to just do it during the market timer because you're not really losing anything since you have to menu anyways. That's just extra safe. Morning. So here we need to buy some stuff so that we can get an Amulet of Annihilation, because we're going to need it to progress throughout the story later. And yeah, chicken. Yo, that would be awesome, and then it would help us a lot in terms of figuring out what actually loses time in the market timer and what doesn't, and also figuring out if there's any way that we can progress the timer faster. Do not taunt the chickens. Taunt the goats if you want, but leave the chickens alone. Did I buy my amulet? I bought the amulet, right? That's what's up. So here we actually have to wait out an in-game timer, which unfortunately we have not figured out any type of way to progress it or speed it up. It's just gotta wait. And that's why we wanted to do all that stuff early on. The value is weird. It's not like it goes from 0 to 14. Huh? not fully understand that, but maybe it's because there's certain progressing cycles. Like when you enter the screen now, there's more people like sitting there waiting. And throughout different parts, there'll be more or less people waiting in this thing for this cutscene. But you can tell that the cutscene, or that you can progress when the sound dies out eventually. So right there where you saw the dog go down, or the boy go down, instead of just go straight right, that's actually considered bad cutscene RNG. This game has a few pathing issues, and and then that cutscene you can actually enter from the very top screen, which will make it 100% consistent, where he just goes down and the right a little bit. And if you go enter from the right, where I did, he will either go down like he did there, which is like 3 seconds slower, or he'll just go straight right. So we can't actually save anymore because we set up Atlas glitch, and if we save and load a file from that, we'll lose Atlas glitch. We're gonna grab these just to position the dog in the camera proper. We want to try to reduce scroll frames. So. And we're gonna be fighting our first boss with our OP powers, Vigor. This fight is a little tricky actually. I killed a run on this fight like a few days ago, so it's not super reassuring, but yeah, I think we'll be alright. Everything in this game explodes, by the way, don't question it. So this fight has a little trick where you can only really attack him after he does like his cheer, like raises his hands in the air like you just don't care. We have to run all the way to the wall. We have to hug the wall and hit him. Otherwise, for some reason it doesn't register if you're not against the wall directly. Then we have to wait a little bit so that he finishes his little cheer animation, and then we can just kill him. So that was a perfect fight. This is where you all clap. You can kind of set the boy up a little further to the left there, which is what you want to do ideally, so that he has less time to walk in position for the cutscene. Directed by Michael Bay, soundtrack by Jeremy Soule. It's a very ambient game, or something like that. It's not like a whole lot of super big long tracks that play out or anything, but soundtracks definitely phenomenal for this game, if I do say so myself. So here we're gonna just be making a trip back to Blimp area, and gonna be utilizing some newer tech. Oh, never mind. We're gonna get reverse desert skip first try. So that skip is actually really finicky. It's not super easy to get first try. But by having the dog up top there, if you don't get it, you can just switch to the dog and run up, and for some reason it does the same thing. So we're moving on to the runes, which is like the scariest part of the run, or certainly one of them. A lot of new tech was recently implemented from your boy Scars, where we use the boy to leash over a bunch of triggers that we would otherwise have used the dog in the past, and it's much faster, but it's also can be quite costly. So we have some invisible bridges here. We definitely do not want to fall down. So if we do, we are sitting for a long cutscene. want to just set the dog up properly here too. So, oh, well, that's bad. Like super bad. Do I YOLO risk it? No, I don't. So if you just run down there, since the dog is like stuck in position, he'll actually soft lock. Oh, don't want that to happen. But there's backup wings that we can grab coming up in the run in a little bit, so it's not really a big deal. Just doing a bit of navigating around here, trying to get blocked as little as possible, hopefully. And another thing I should probably mention is that notice me running like diagonally with the boy, like zigzags. It's because the boy is much slower moving up and down and much faster moving left and right, so we want to try to reduce his up and down movement as much as possible. So here's a pretty scary type skip, but I'm just gonna go for it. Oops. And we got it, because we're just nice like that, you know. Normally we would switch the boy to defensive to make it skip much easier because he's not running all over the place, but there's a chance that he'll start to just kind of wander around or step on the platform, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Is we don't want to trigger the platform. We're trying to leash the dog over it. So this is the new big skip. Since the boy is on aggressive still, we can kind of just leash him over this trigger here, and if we're lucky, okay, so this is not bad. That's second try. That's pretty good. There's a chance he can walk up and then just get stuck in the trigger, and it's pretty bad because you have to wait for the dog to get called over, and he just kind of walks from being off screen, and it's very slow because the dog walks very slowly. But now, since we have the dog by the door, we can just do what we have to do in this room and walk out with the dog, which is much faster. In the past, we would have had to use wings and come back. Okay. Cool. Yo, thank you, Rufus, or Rufres, for the $25 donation. Hell yeah. So that's like a new task strat that I actually recently found, which I totally just did not execute properly, but kind of wanted to just sort of wing it and go for it because it's swag. But it saves like 10 frames if you hit the Megatort down rather than hitting him up perfectly. Not very RTA viable, but yeah, now we have the spear, which means we can run really fast. Spear is the fastest form of movement in this game, so we're going to be trying to keep it equipped at all times. Here's a very scary movement. Alright, and we didn't fall in, so good stuff. That ditch is the same as the ditch above, where if you fall into it, you are having a minute-long conversation with our boy horse. We don't want that, so. And that's how you would normally get a spell called Flash, which allows you to see over those ditches, but because we've been playing this game far more than anyone should ever, we just kind of know where they are. Knowing the movement, oh yeah. So here I'm just going to be navigating through pyramids, which is a pretty monk-ass area, but feel free to, if you want to give that shout out, Joe, now would be okay time. So what happened there is I actually set the dog up for frame perfect character switch as he was pressing the button. Ah! Which allows us to move around during the gate opening animation. We're gonna do the same thing here. And we can also run down with the dog to set him up in position for in a little bit when we free him. We can kind of just cancel out this fanfare by character selecting and selecting back, which allows us to move around a little bit early. Just working our way to free the doggy. Free and doggo, get your Frankers out. So since the boy is still on aggressive, we can also kind of leash him over these little bridges, which is very scary. It's very risky, but if you get both of them first try, then you save about 3 seconds, so swag. Always save the frames. Oh. So recently just found out you can move around with the dog here a little bit early, so you can kind of just set him in the center position, save a few frames, because the dog moves really slow and you kind of want him to be wherever he's got to go as fast as possible. Oh no, I did it! I did the thing. I knew I was going to do the thing. I was actively trying not to do the thing. So yeah, I'm confounded. I'm supposed to move up for whatever, you know, everything. Controls are reversed. Anyways, I messed up. Because I got nervous like a stupido. That's whatever. It's not like a super big time loss. If this was, if I was trying to PB, it would be really bad, but it's not like crazy. And you would just normally navigate your way back in reverse this whole time, but now it's actually, I guess, a little harder because I'm not used to it. There's a super big skip coming up here, which we kind of just need to get lucky, so pray. Hey, we got a really good skip. So the boy's movement, while he's like inactive, is far more unpredictable than the dog's. And he can just kind of go all over the place. Like, he can walk upright, which is the worst case scenario because he's walking right into the trigger for that skip, and that skip is pretty big. It saves about like 3 minutes. That's another big addition to having the boy on aggressive movement is when he goes, and it's much faster than having to leash the dog, which is what we used to do. Much safer to leash the dog, but also much faster to just have the boy go right. Coming up here we have Aegis, who we recently, so my boy Green Ambler had found a skip about 2 years ago. And I only like more recently started implementing it in runs and has since popularized amongst the runners because it's pretty free and it saves about a second because just how slow the dog moves. But these bridges on the sides here, we can actually run into them and they trigger an explosion. We're going to be utilizing that with his def, so we want to count to 2, or this is how I do anyways. So white screen, then 1, 2, then walk down. And they can move during the fanfare here. It's just kind of like how, just time it. Zeal ended up coming up with like a consistent setup, I think, or something, but I don't know. I was doing it like that the whole time, so I didn't want to change it up at all. Ouch, my ears. Hey! Sorry, my headset is pretty weak. So, yeah, now would be a good time to read in donations. It's just cutscenes, and I'm gonna be running around. So there, I missed the reverse desert skip, so I was able to just use the dog to scroll the screen by keeping him up by Nobilia. I'm just gonna be making my way through Aquagoth's lair, so, oh, whoops, actually. So you're free to read over some donations.
Oh, well, shoutouts to all the big fat dicks jerking off to the stream, and all the vaginas fingering other vaginas at this moment, which I'm sure it's just an epidemic going on right now. Yeah, I know we've raised $360. So I just want to give a shout out to that, and shout outs to everyone's support. I don't know all the individual, names of people who've donated. I'll get to that later in the marathon, but I do have to go to work, unfortunately, in about 20 minutes. So I just wanted to stop by and say, I appreciate all you guys for stopping in and supporting the marathon. It's going to be lit, and shout outs to Invader Des, Kara, and this is what the marathon's all about. That and just particularly Rolling Deep. So I'll let you take back the the mic there, Colin.
Yeah, I'm about to leave for work too, unfortunately. So you and I both.
Well, shout outs to both RPG and Joe for helping coordinate this awesome marathon and just being awesome and rolling up Pamela Deep.
Colin holding it down.
Oh yeah. So
I'll say that I really didn't coordinate shit, so it was all Joe D'Amelio. So shouts to Joe D'Amelio and Hito Kage.
Miss Hunter. How could you forget?
Woo. All right, so here actually, this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can actually only cast 7 spells because they're animation spells, and he has the chance to cast things like that. And if he does, what was that? 2, 3, 4. All right, good enough. Flare, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This should definitely kill. So I just made the fight extra long, but ideally you would level up Sting a bit more so that because the cancel out animation is like instant. But yeah, I don't know all that swag. So I wonder if picking up the honey or whatever. I don't know. Oh yeah. Whew. Alright, sorry about that. So if he casts a spell and you cast 8 spells, it causes the game to crash because it's too many animation spells being loaded on screen at once. So that fight can be a little nerve-wracking. I'm bad at counting, so yeah. This is another case where the game has weird pathing issues. If you're the dog, for whatever reason, the boy just decides to walk all over the place when he goes up this bucket.
Raw dogging it.
Oh yeah. But now we're in Act 3, so of course the guy's a poodle because, you know, why not? It makes sense, I guess. And he's a pink poodle on top of that. So this guy is the most useless of all the dogs. He's just, we basically don't need him to do anything, but not not give us bad RNG. That's all we need, is we need him to do the thing and do what he's supposed to do. So we can roll deep, go fast. That's why we need the Amulet Annihilation, by the way. We needed to buy this ticket because we're going to a freak show. Because yeah, it makes sense, you know. It's freak show. Why not? Trying to find our way back home, but still got time for the freak show exhibit. So there's a big square where if you walk into that square, it's basically a trigger for a cutscene. He'll like make an announcement about the freak show so people show up. But we can just walk around that and talk to him from behind him. Yeah, no big deal. Makes sense. Shout outs to Little Z. So this is a super big cutscene gauntlet. If Joe or anybody's able to read off some donations, now would be an amazing time to do that.
Blah.
We haven't got any. I forget if I read off Rue's donation earlier, so in case I haven't, let's do it again. Rufus, who actually ran before Colin, donated $25 earlier, said, "Thanks for hosting the marathon. Wishing the best for Dez's battle against cancer." If he wants to specify what incentive he wants to put that towards, it'll be right there in the chat.
Oh yeah, make sure you get your donation incentives in. Looking forward to this fresh 5-minute freestyle by your boy RPG. That's gonna be phenomenal, so definitely donate to that.
Yeah, and by the way, because I'm about to leave for work, anyone who donates in the next, let's see, yeah, the next 5 hours, just specify what incentive you want it to go towards in chat, because Unlink is only, like, for some reason it doesn't let him see the text that goes along with donations, just the donations itself. So yeah, just do that until I get home for work and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Hopefully people will relay that to people. So, if people just come in randomly and donate, I mean, they're probably not gonna know that. So.
All right, I'll make sure to
Jack.
keep it reminded as well. As long as I'm around, I have to babysit, so I'm not going anywhere. Also, hope you guys have an awesome day at work.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, I just want to say I really appreciate everyone donating and supporting the marathon. Of course, everyone participating and all that, and everyone who's got my back with the marathon while I'm about to go to work and stuff. So just thank you, everyone, and I'll see you guys in a couple hours when I get home.
I mean, and just being here and just watching the stream and just being supportive. So I mean, you don't feel like, you know, bad if you don't have the money or anything. Just being here is honestly, you know, in my opinion, it's a big deal.
As long as you're here, or as long as you're rolling deep, you're good. And if you're here, you're rolling deep, so you're good. If you can hear this, you're good. if you can't, then you might need to, you know.
So I would like to just point out real quick, you saw me walk down the screen after that text box in the banquet. If you don't do that, you get an extremely long cutscene, and it costs like several minutes, but it's super free, so thankfully we're able to sequence break that. And I just got the quick kill strat on this guy. He's kind of a pain sometimes, but yeah. Another thing, there's a screen coming up here. You'll see I'm going to use the wings, and it's going to say it doesn't work, but it actually does. And what it does is it makes us untargetable. Even though they can't attack us, these guys will still block the hell out of us, and we don't want that. Going to be just running through the big forest maze, so kind of
well, if you didn't know, if you donate if $5, you're eligible to win Perglers. Some raw and deep Perglers made by Megavin. And if you step it up and do a $20 plus donation, you're eligible to win an EverDrive 64, brand new from the one and only Josh RTA, Roland.
I actually really want that EverDrive, I'm not gonna lie. I'll be making sure to make my donation soon, TM. So yeah, it's pretty easy to lose a lot of frames here because, as you can see, the corners are really hard to like cut tight. It's just like there's like these trees that are the background, whatever it is, big giant bushiness. It kind of like blocks you, so you want to like cut every corner as tight as possible, but at the same time you can get blocked real easily by nudging. And also these guys will just walk in your way all the time. If you don't pay close attention, you'll be blocked by a dragon, lose a billion. It's no bueno. How do you remember this, you say? You just do it way too much and it becomes second nature. So now we're gonna fight the Dark Link of Legend of Secret of More, and he's really weak, but he has the tangent dodge. So the only real bad RNG that we can get right now is enemies dodging our attacks, getting critical hits, and being bad at the game. So we don't want any of that stuff to happen. He's going to give us the sword, but we're going to switch back to the spear because the sword is slow and we don't like that. We're making our way over to the next boss, who's the first dragon that we fight, and the far less trollier of the two. And he can give us a few patterns, but for the most part, this guy is just usually always smooth sailing. It's probably the easiest of all the boss fights. But if we're lucky, he'll be spawn in the bottom left, and he'll just come right to us. So if we can, that's the pattern we want to see. He can be up left, or he can be just on the wall to the left. So, not too bad. Worst case is he'll be all the way up to the top left, but even then it doesn't lose too much time. Now we're gonna be making our way through the sewers, which is other essentially big maze. These guys will block us, and they have a chance to drop stuff. And for some reason, their drop rate seems much higher than anything else in this game. So it's not uncommon that you get blocked up in this bitch. But clearly you don't want that to happen. So just avoid prey. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So we got a new strat here that was recently implemented by my boy, Green Ambler. We're going to be using the dog to run around, kind of, and set off some triggers while the boy is catching up. By running onto both of those platforms as fast as possible, you can kind of cause them to both spawn in the same spot. So they both come out of that one prison, which is ideal. Now we're going to be making our way to this DLC boss content, which we don't normally fight this guy in the run, but 80% run because he's skippable, but oh, this music is just so comfy. Sorry about that. He has a chance of soft locking our console with the 2-chip, so if you don't have like a Super Famicom or a SNES Junior, it's kind of SOL. This is the other guy that we need to cast spells on, so.
Alright, well, I'm officially heading out to work, so hope you guys all have fun with the marathon, and shout outs to Dez one more time. Indeed, here. Good luck with the rest of your run, Colin. Good luck, Pidge, later with your Super Mario RPG jerking off session. Yeah.
Oh yeah, rolling out. Shout outs to RPG. If you don't know who RPG is, he is the godfather of awesomeness, and should definitely donate for that rolling deep freestyle that he's gonna be dropping. My man's got bars, so yeah, definitely make sure you get the donations in for that. So here we just killed Verminator, and now we're gonna go to the keep, and this guy's like, oh, there's an imposter queen, or whatever, you're hanging out with the imposter queen, what's up with that, why are you doing that? And we're just like, I don't know, man, I didn't know she was an imposter. Invited me into her castle and then tried to eat my dog, which is what happens when you don't get the banquet skip. Your dog gets like kidnapped and they're gonna cook him, but he's just so crazy that he runs all over the banquet, and you get kicked out and yelled at because the lady's mean. So since we skipped all that, snap. You don't really get that backstory, but she kind of just fills you in, and we mash through the text, so you don't really get to see this, but she's basically telling us like, oh, that lady, she's an imposter, and I need to get my castle back, and I was once from Podunk and got captured and teleported, and here, take my call beads. Thank you. Please call me Camellia. Alright. So now we have the bazooka, which we won't be really using throughout the run, but we can do this. Blast you, son. Ah, dude. So I guess there's. Yeah, you can. You can like loot those while you get the text box, and you can like skip the text box, but I've never gotten it so far. I think it's where my positioning was, like I was too far away from the drop. But if you pick up an item, like if you get lucky and they drop an item, those last guys, and you pick it up while you kill them, you can actually move around during the text box being opened and just skip that. But it was really, really crazy to see so many drops in that fight. I think like every single one of them dropped something. That was pretty nuts. So this guy tells us about the evil queen, and he shows us his super awesome telescope that we can actually hear through. So we're just listening through his telescope, and we see the queen trying to basically not caring about her citizens or something like that. I don't really know. I haven't read the dialogue in years. But we're like, man, she's really mean. And he's like, yeah, so now you can go do my bidding and crush the mean queen, because, you know, I don't want to do it. It's mad work. I don't blame him. So we go, we pick up the Night Basher, and we're on our way to do his bidding, and Gotta do a little bit of backtracking, unfortunately. This act is a lot of backtracking and good old cutscenes. So it's almost chill until RNG just takes you by the hips and has its way with you. So yeah, we actually need to have the axe out so that we can crush these walls and they just explode because we're so powerful. Oh yeah, dying here. Alright. So basically that's everything that you don't want to happen just happened right there. Since our health, our energy is regenerating a little bit, we are able to just hold the run button. Not the right way to go, but okay. Since it's much easier than peace spreading, because we're not a task, and peace spreading is pretty much impossible to properly replicate. We are going to just be trying to hold down while we have full energy as much as possible, like right there. So you kind of just get used to knowing where you're able to run, trying to save as many frames as possible. That was actually very good because we need the dog to follow us to continue up here. And if you have him off screen, it just drags him in and it's very slow. So you want him to follow us, but these guys will usually just hit him like crazy and there's not much you can do about it. So this fight is the scariest of all fights and I got super lucky. So I did a extremely risky strat. Normally what we would do is cast Hypnotize, which allows him to be like stunned, but I don't like having a menu and it's kind of slow, so I just kind of YOLO it and try to hit him, and when you knock him back, it gives you enough time to just like, when you knock him back, first off, it causes it so that he has like these kind of weird iframes where you can't knock him back immediately after, but you can still deal damage to him. But we need to knock him back because he's not hypnotized, and if he gets too close to us, he'll grab us and throw us down, which is very slow. And also, if he's one hit away from dying, when you come back up after being thrown down and you kill him, he'll actually soft lock the game. So you don't want any of that to happen. But that fight went phenomenal because we got a miss and still didn't get grabbed, which is very, very scary and unlikely. So it's good stuff. And the tower went really well, actually, so it's kind of making up for a lot of the super massive time loss earlier. It should still be good for estimate, but definitely lost quite a bit of time earlier in the run. If things keep going like this, though, it's gonna be good. Shoutouts to Doggo. So basically now she's gonna be telling us like, you messed everything up, you weren't supposed to lower the bridge or something like that. And we're like, you know what, didn't mean it, I apologize, because we just apologize for everything. Just like, raises her fist in the air, gets all mad, she's like, alright, you can make this alright, just go do this. And instead we go here. And she's trying to destroy us. Oh no, it's a trap. Should have known. These guys can give you a few different patterns where they walk all over the place. That was actually the best pattern I could get, but I got a crit, which knocked the guy back. It's not ideal, but it's a pretty good fight. They can also come together, and you can kill the other guy, or the first two on the right, much faster, but uh-oh. And then the fat lady saying, So rest in peace, Evil Queen. She exploded like everything else in this game. Here's the biggest instance of cutscene RNG. So we'll see what happens. It's looking good. Alright, so everybody went down. Every single character has a chance to walk up and around, and it's very slow. You can lose like 16 seconds there. Just because of poor character pathing. There's not much you can do about it. Or anything, actually. So now we're just going to be making our way back to the other castle of the good people. Movement here is a little bit weird. You got this debris and stuff blocking you, but after a while you just kind of get used to it. You learn where you can nudge on things, and essentially you just want to be holding the right button right on the D-pad the whole time. And I mentioned P sprinting earlier. The fastest way to move is to actually press the sprint button. So pressing A, and I believe it's after 3 frames. So you hold it for 3 frames, let go on the 4th frame, and then repress a frame later. But clearly that's like impossible to do as perfectly, unless if you're a robot. So we just kind of spam the sprint button throughout the run, try to get as good of sprints as we can. You don't want to sprint mash too fast though, because like I said, P sprinting is like a frame release type thing. It's not actually like how fast you hit the button. If you were to spam the A button, you'd actually move much slower. This guy gives us this janky Windwalker thing. It's made out of potbelly stove and barrel, giant stone wheel, but it works. We trust it. So we're gonna go take a little cruise. He needs to get us some parts so that we can complete his even more futuristic spaceship, so that we can beat the bad guys and save the world. Cool. So since we did Diamond Eyes skip earlier, normally we would have to go grab Diamond Eyes, and there's a wheel which we get from fighting what is basically Thrax incarnate. But all that's really slow, so instead we're just gonna run here and grab the gauge twice. Because the game doesn't care what items you have, as long as you have 3. This is why we had to grab some wings earlier. I grabbed an additional wing just in case if I was bad enough to miss Diamond Eye skip, but don't have to use it. So well, if you slash the grass there without stepping on it and switch to the dog, you can run the dog up a little bit, which makes it much faster because the dog just walks really slow. So saves about like a second and a half. Shout out to my boy Solar for finding that, but it's not the most free of things, because actually attacking the grass and not stepping on it is kind of weird. Try it again in a second. You get 2 tries. So we're just getting the gauge to complete the spaceship right now. Trying to avoid these raptors as much as possible because they can block you real bad. This is why we actually use the wings on the way up. It's much worse when you're coming up the mountain. They'll just block you in those choke points. Running the dog over a little bit so that his position is much closer to the trigger. So there's kind of like a TAS only trick coming up here that I'm going to try to perform because, it's just nice like that. Where we can set the dog up and the trigger to leave the room as we talk to Tinker. And normally we'd be giving Tinker the wheel, the gauge, and the Diamond Eyes, but we can combine that. Oh, I got the... Wow, dude, that was about to be so good, and I just was... I wasn't sure if I was on the trigger because I got him set up so well. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna try this one more time. This is not going good. Yeah, never mind. No, I'm gonna do it actually. Alright, I got it. I could have got that first try, that would have been swag. But essentially, by having the dog in the trigger to leave the room and talking to the what's his name? Gomi. Is it Gomi? No. Talking to Tinker on the same frame, you give the stuff away without having to actually go through the dialogue box. And it can save like a whopping 6 seconds or something if you do it absolutely perfect, but it's just very close to the end of the run and pretty difficult to execute actually. Like, you saw that I messed it up when I had it set up like perfectly the first time because it's so hard and like so uncommon to just be able to do it like that. I mean, I've done it before first try, but it's definitely, even though you kind of use buffers, it's still really difficult. Obviously, you want to have the dog as close to the trigger as possible because the more buffers you do, the less time you're going to save. So, try to get the little grass swing there again, but just wasn't able to get it, unfortunately. It's not like it's completely game breaking or anything though. Just a little cool new tech. Cool. I mean, I already got to use things, so that's pretty sweet. So here I'm going to be performing a little glitch, which is quite interesting to see actually. It doesn't save like an insane amount of time. It does save. It's super free, so that looks cool. So instead of just returning to Tinker, we're going to land our thing in the water, and we're there. So basically just skips the landing animation. It's about like 6 seconds faster, I think, or something. It's just this trigger that the developers ended up not using or something. So if you do land there in a casual play without having gotten the rest of the items, you have actually soft locked the game. So this game is this game is proper. So mash. Alright, and that's Act 3. Cool! Now we're at the Future Town. Where everything is futuristic. Wonder what the dog will look like this time. What? He's a toaster! The toaster dog is awesome, and the reason he's awesome is because he can do this. Notice how his energy is at 0, but he's still moving at unbelievably remarkable speed. We're going to use that speed to break this game in a little bit. So, as awesome as Act 4 looks, unfortunately, we are not going to see a single bit of it. So normally you would have to go through a bunch of doors and activate some stuff to get to this room, but with a frame perfect character switch on this loot, we can actually just force the game to let us in, and final boss room, here we are. And for this section here, we'd have to destroy these fans, normally by attacking these bombs up and having them hit the fans. But since the dog is so fast and has infinite amounts of run, we can just run up there with the dog and call the boy into the screen. So we got a final boss rush coming up. These guys can give you a lot of trouble. You can miss a lot. So just want to hope that we don't get any misses or any crits. Is essentially the game plan. Kind of set the dog up as like a wall, so that if you do miss the raptors, they don't run all over the place. As you see, these guys have pretty high evasion rate. We got some evil Rinsula guys coming up. Basically, you're going to see a lot of repeat enemies here. Just in much stronger and metal form. Hey! Hey! Again, some good RNG though. Dog died, unfortunately. It's a little lag because he produces a lot of lag, but it's no big deal. Shout out to the music. Oh yeah, this guy is the reason that this game is, or the world record is like unbelievable, because that 95% of the time happens, but you want to have him like not dodge at all. Die. Okay, that's bad. That's pretty slow. Oh yeah. I'm about to save everybody. So this is Metal Magmar. He's a much bigger pushover than he was earlier in the game. And then we got Carltron, the big bad antagonist. So time's gonna be coming up on final hit in a little bit here. You're gonna see a level up. We bring him to the left to reduce lag by the explosions. Time. Essentially, we want him to not jump at all, because when he jumps, we can't hit him. And then, you know, no crits, no misses. Try to bring him over to the left to reduce the explosions, which helps reduce lag, but so that was okay time considering everything that had happened. It's pretty nice. There's a lot of bad stuff and a lot of pretty mediocre gameplay, but still made it. Oh yeah.
GG. Oh yeah.